Before this video starts, if you enjoy this video, there are many more like it already on the channel, with many more on the way in the future, so subscribe. I think I'm setting an official goal to hit 100k subscribers by the end of the year, so please subscribe. Also drop a like, it really helps the video perform well and I really appreciate it. Today we are talking about the Portland Trail Blazers, who just had a disastrous season. Assuming the season, or at least regular season, is over, the Blazers missed the playoffs, and even if the season wasn't ended, I don't think they were going to make the playoffs anyways. Even if they did make the playoffs as an 8th seed, that would still be a massive disappointment for this team, considering the fact that the year prior they made the Western Conference Finals and really proved themselves to be a legitimate threat in the West. Or so we thought. Now, after Dame ended OKC's season last year, OKC, with a worse roster, at least on paper, is doing better than the Blazers. Needless to say, this season has really been a disaster for the Portland Trail Blazers, and it's leaving the future of this team uncertain. Now, there are a few reasons why this season has gone so wrong, many of them the fault of the Blazers organization, many of them not. So let's discuss those problems, see how the Blazers can fix them, and recover from this disastrous season. Let's look at some of the problems with this roster to determine where they can improve, and I think now would be a good time to quickly address that injuries have played a huge factor in this season. Of course, as we all know, Jusuf Nurkic has not played a game in what feels like 6 years. He's only been injured for a year, but with this pandemic going on, everything feels like it's been a decade away. I dropped my video on why Giannis should be a unanimous MVP 3 weeks ago. It feels like it's been a year. Anyways, Jusuf Nurkic has not played all year, which means that bum-ass Hassan Whiteside has been starting at center all year, the epitome of empty stats. Damian Lillard has missed 8 games, CJ McCollum has missed 6, and the role players on this roster have been in and out as well. Rodney Hood tore his Achilles 20 games into the season, and he is their #1 source of offense off of the bench. Zach Collins, who the Blazers were hoping to see a lot of growth out of, got a season-ending injury in the 3rd game of the year after showing signs in those games of taking that next step, with him improving defensively and hitting his outside shots. Overall, for the year, the Blazers only have 6 players who have played 50 or more games for the team, and among those 6 players are Gary Trent, Carmelo Anthony, Hassan Whiteside, and Anthony Simons, all of which are not really big contributors. Simons has a lot of potential, like a lot, but at the moment he is currently a backup, really inefficient, poor man's version of, ironically, CJ McCollum. Trent has been a decent role player this year, so there's no criticism there. I've already made my feelings known on Hassan Whiteside earlier in the video. And as for Carmelo Anthony, I've gained the reputation of a Melo hater, and I guess I'm going to have to maintain it because Melo is not any better this year than he was in the past 2 years. His numbers are painfully similar to his numbers in OKC and Houston, and yet somehow people keep acting like he has made a comeback. He really just hasn't. Everything I've said about Melo in the past, I completely stand by because everything I said has been true. Nothing has changed at all. And this is just a good reflection of a general issue with this Blazers roster. Outside of Dame, CJ, and Nurkic, this roster is not good at all. Like, going into this season, the Blazers were fully planning on playing Mario Hezonja multiple minutes because they needed to. To open the year, when everyone was healthy besides for Nurkic, they were playing Mario 20+ minutes a game. This team had a horrible offseason. They traded Mo Harkless and let Al-Farouq Aminu walk in free agency, when those guys were the foundation of their defense that was ranked middle of the pack last year. And with them gone, the Blazers have dropped to 27th in the NBA. The Golden State Warriors this year are a better defensive team than the Blazers. The fucking Knicks are a better defensive team than the Blazers. Offensively, the Blazers get the job done with Dame and CJ. There was no reason to trade away that defense. Last year, the Blazers were 3rd in offensive rating. Now, ironically, after the Blazers moved their defense in favor of some more offense, they've dropped to 10th in the NBA. So it's not like that trade-off even made them better offensively, it made them worse. Yes, before you ask, I am wearing my new red Nike Blazers in my Trailblazers video. Hilarious. Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Amino are not fun players. I'm fully aware of that. Find me an Al-Farouq Amino stan and I guarantee you it's his mom. Even then, I bet she's not that big a fan. But those guys were holding down the Blazers' defense and making them respectable when they didn't necessarily have the personnel for it, and they were a foundation of why that Blazers team was so good last year. And I find it so damn hilarious that Blazers executives looked at this hole in the defense that the team had and thought the solution would be Carmelo fucking Anthony. So really what I'm getting at here is that the Blazers need defense, and ideally you get some defensive players that can also shoot the ball, because that was the main flaw with Aminu and Harkless. There is hope that Zach Collins can be that, however I don't see that with him. I also just think he's a center. He just seems like a whatever player to me, not a great player, not a horrible one. I think they should trade him for the value that he will get just because he is young. Same goes for Anthony Simons, in my opinion. I know that's an unpopular take within Blazers fan communities, but here's the deal. Simons is a guard. He can play both guard positions, but presuming this team is sticking with their guns, he's never going to get a chance to start on this team. He is a very valuable asset that can get you something pretty nice to contribute to winning now with Dame and CJ, rather than him being this decent shot creator off of the bench that you're holding on to for the sake of holding on to. Now, there is a world where the Blazers view Simons as a replacement for CJ McCollum because they actually have very similar skill sets, so they decide to trade CJ, who would obviously have way more value. That's certainly interesting. I don't think I would do it, but it's definitely a possibility. And I guess I should also address the idea out there that the Blazers should just blow it up. That's even something that I have mentioned. I don't agree with that. A few years from now, yes, but not where they stand right now. Now, ultimately, I don't think Damian Lillard quite crosses the threshold to be the best player on a championship team. I think he is a damn fine second option on a championship team. But that doesn't mean the Blazers should just go the route of blowing the whole shit up. I've had this mindset as a fan for a while that teams should either be championship or bust, or building up to a championship or bust. And I still somewhat believe that. However, that's just not realistic to expect every franchise to operate like that. And even so, I do think there is a world where Dame is good enough and the circumstances are there. A team built perfectly around Lillard might be able to pull it off without a couple lucky circumstances. But anyways, with that tangent, what are some trades or free agency signings that this team could make to improve? Well, first of all, in my opinion, the Blazers should break the bank to sign Jeremy Grant. I can't describe just how perfect Grant would be for this team. Jeremy is a combo forward, 6'9", long arms, extremely athletic, phenomenal defensive player, possibly top 5 in his position, and over the last 2 years, he has shot 40% from 3 on 3.5 attempts per game. I seriously do not understand how Grant is this undervalued. Denver is not going to be paying him his worth, being that they're only playing him 26 minutes a game, and they already have Paul Millsap. A solid $15 million a year or so will get you Grant, but I'd even be willing to get close to 20 just because I think he's that great as a role player. There's also a real chance that Otto Porter Jr. is going to be available, though he might be a little too expensive. A cheaper option would be Jay Crowder, and an even cheaper option, which would be kind of sad, would be Wilson Chandler. And the Blazers will have this cap space because Hassan Whiteside's $27 million contract is expiring. But if the Blazers could come into the 2020-2021 season with a starting lineup of Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Otto Porter Jr., Jeremy Grant, and Yusuf Nurkic, they could be a scary team in the West, because that is a team built almost perfectly around Damian Lillard. And if they could turn Simons, Nazir Little, and Zach Collins into some good players off of the bench, with Trevor Ariza, Rodney Hood, and Gary Trent already there, I think this team could actually be a real problem for the Lakers and Clippers. Again, I don't think a team built around Damian Lillard wins a championship without a lot of lucky factors, but they will certainly be a very good team. And it's a team that I'm probably going to try building once I start streaming, because I've decided I wanted to start streaming some 2K realistic rebuilds. I think that can be kind of my niche in the rebuild area. I'll be streaming it on this channel and then dropping the VODs on a second channel, the gaming one, not the film one. I don't know when I'm doing this, but since everybody has a lot more free time, I figured I'd give it a shot, and I might as well announce it now. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Kind of a weird way to end it, but that's how the Blazers, I believe, can become a much better team next year with the blueprint that I laid out here. That's the end of this video. Please be sure to like and subscribe for more NBA content like this, and cue the outro music.